Hello and happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Keasha. I am always thrilled to have these live conversations with friends from all over who are doing amazing and dynamic things, who are sharing and living in their truths and also enriching the lives of others. And today, I'm so happy to have my friend, who's also an amazing transformational sales coach, to come on and have a convo regarding lead generation. And I know this is something that no matter what kind of business you have, it's really important, and particularly important for the creatives out there who may have some obstacles or challenges around sales and bringing in a consistent revenue stream. So we're going to talk about some things that I'm sure you're going to get a lot out of. So I will bring Lois on right now to join me for the conversation. And this is always a great opportunity to ask questions live so that we can answer them and address them. Let me see. So, yay! Hello!
Oh my gosh, this is exciting. This is my first time ever doing this.
Oh, yay! I'm so excited. How are you?
Amazing. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Absolutely. I'm so happy that we've gotten closer and over this year, and I think you're an amazing person, a super smart individual, and I know that my community will definitely benefit from what we're going to discuss today. So thank you for taking the time to come on.
Yay. Wonderful to be here. This is exciting. This is my first time, so I'm glad I figured it out.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's pretty simple. So, but different, right? If you've never done it before, it's like, okay. Yeah. All right, Lois. So how it begins is, I already did like a little intro welcoming folks. This is episode 15, which I'm like, wow, it's just going. We just keep, and the point of having this conversation, the intent behind Conversations with Keasha is for me to have conversations with wonderful, dynamic folks who are my friends, who maybe people that I've met online, for the sake of helping to expand the thought process and maybe the perception and perspective of the audience based on our topic. If I have one person that can walk away at the end of this conversation, at the end of this segment saying, wow, I've never thought of it like that before, then I've done my job. I've done my job. And so I think there's a lot to be said for us in this exchange and, in terms of the enrichment, but also absolutely for those who catch us live or the recording. So please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, hey, Steph. Oh, good. One of my beautiful clients is here with us. So excited to have someone here. This is great.
There's also April, too. I don't know if you know April. I'm not sure. But
no.
Okay. Hi, April. And Steph?
So I've been in sales for 23 years. I've sold in 4 different verticals, and I love sales. I'm one of those weird people who actually even loves the word selling and sales, because I've been in sales for 23 years, and I've actually also been in health and fitness. And I share that for a reason, because what I've discovered is sales and health have a lot of things in common. It's our daily habits, our daily choices, and how we choose to invest our biggest non-renewable asset, which is time, to accomplish our goals and dreams. And I've worked with over probably 20,000 people since the year 2000 on health and fitness or sales. And it's amazing to me how a lot of people still struggle with yo-yo dieting, for example, and then there's the sales yo-yo. I call it yo-yo lead generation. And so I've done a lot of studying of the mindset, of the time management, and really am passionate about lead generation and sales. And I find a lot of people struggle with lead generation and sales. And so I'm hoping to unpack some of that with you today and help share some insights and nuggets of wisdom.
Absolutely. Okay. So I love how you made that connection, or that, the similarities between health and sales, because it absolutely does come down to our time management and, what our habits are, what our mindset is that helps to direct those habits. And so I think for the creative and conscious entrepreneurs and individuals out there, can you please define for us lead generation, like what that is and what that looks like?
That's a great point, because there's some different words out there. So I'm going to probably say a couple other words just to give people another, brain stimulation. So I learned the word lead generation right away in my first year in sales, also prospecting. But I find that a lot of people don't like the word prospecting. So that's why I chose the word lead generation. And lead generation just simply is opening up a door to a possibility to do business with you. So it's generating that lead. It's a conversation to discerning for that prospect, and just same with you, because we don't work with anybody and everybody, right? Hopefully not. You find your target market and see if there's an opportunity to serve them through your product or service. So that's the simplest definition.
Okay, I love it. It's opening a door for the possibility of someone working with you, and that looks like a conversation, most likely. And yes, you all, I always talk about this. Not everybody is for us, and we are not for everybody. So it is important to have a defined knowledge of who it is that you want to attract, because that helps with, I think, how the conversation goes. And continue, Lois, please. Yes, lead generation, that's one. Okay.
Yeah, and then also just discerning if you are the type of person that wants to go for the cold market approach or the warm market approach. And one of the things that helped me when I got into sales right at the age of 21 was a mentor taught me this saying. And because I grew up on a farm in Iowa, this was easy for me to understand. He says, Lois, you've got to think like a hunter, but work like a farmer. So there's different industries out there that are more hunting industries. I was actually talking to a girlfriend this week that just started a brand new industry, and she's hunting, cold calling all day, every day. And I'm more of a warm market approach, working by referral, for example. That's another way to generate leads. Not everyone's for you. In fact, not everyone is going to work with you, but guess what? It's who do they know that is in their warm market, their sphere of influence, that could become your ideal client. And so the way I target in lead generation is, I don't care if you work with me or not, but can I earn your respect enough to be your sales trainer, in my case, whatever industry, insert your industry here, to be the person you refer to. Because I love doing a business by referral. I'd say 80 to 90% of my business leads came through word of mouth referral. And then I was one of those weird sadomasochistic people that actually loved cold calling, and I actually was pretty good at it. However, because I grew up on a farm, and because I love warm, just basically hand serve them up on a silver platter leads.
Yeah.
Easier to close, higher close rate, because it's nice to have a lead, but guess what? Most people don't follow up. And that's the other thing besides the lead generation activity, which is your daily income producing activity. Oh, by the way, I can talk about that in a second. You want to make sure you have a follow-up protocol, because it does take 5 to 12 touches or follow-ups to close a deal, no matter what you're selling. However, that's why I brought up referrals and warm market approach and lead generation, is because then people probably won't need to be touched as much. It's not always an assumptive automatic close, but it'll probably save you time and make you more money if you take that approach. So that's the other thing for your audience to think about is, do you want to do the cold market approach? Do you want to do the warm market approach? Or can you do a little bit of both? And that's where the saying, think like a hunter, because there could be a not that I'm not a hunter, in real life, so I don't want to offend any PETA people out there, but I'm just saying it, think like that a lead or a referral even could drop in your lap and boom, you have money today. And then you have the warm market approach where you can do your email list building. I love email list building. You can drip on them, right? Follow up and then, close people. I had a gal who she attended 12 of my webinars. I'm a big fan of webinars. That's one of my tools for lead generation. Mm-hmm. And she went to all 12. So it took her 12 months to earn, or for me actually to earn her trust of that dripping through those webinars, and it was pretty much the same content every time. And she, boom, signed a 6-month coaching contract, and we did, a $10,000 transaction. But, also depends on your price point too, on how many of those touches and follow-ups you're going to do. So having that lead generation strategy and follow-up strategy, I can stop talking now. We can deepen that.
Yeah, I want to break down a bit of what you said because you shared a lot, and that's great. And what I want is to help the folks. So we started with lead generation and the definition of that, but also what it looks like. So it can look like a conversation. It can come by way of referrals. So much of this, you all listening, is about the rapport. And another aspect of that is about how you're showing up and the energy you bring and what you're sharing about what it is, what you stand for, what you provide, and why it matters. And so the lead generation can look like a webinar, like doing a series of webinars. It can look like sharing emails to your list consistently. I tell people to choose some sort of schedule that works for you. Don't be sporadic. If it's once a month, then great. Stick with once a month. If you are able to do more in terms of communicating with your audience, then do that. And then I like the third aspect of this, which is follow up. So many people are not good at follow-up, and that affects the closing rate. It affects the money that comes in, and it takes I call it a pleasantly persistent approach with follow-up, right? But I feel like a lot of times if we can also go a little bit, spend more time here with the follow-up, Lois, because sometimes people are like, but I don't want to be a bother, or how often is too much, or what's enough? If you could share a little bit maybe on that.
It's funny because I just had this conversation with a client this morning. That same woman actually who hired me was talking about how the phone was feeling like 100 pounds. Mm. So if anybody knows what that means, it's call reluctance. And so I coach on phone calls. I coach on permission-based social media messaging. I referral. Those are my favorite ways to get people to at least get into the habit, the daily habit of lead generation, and then the follow-up. So I have a game that I play with my clients because most sales careers are for lack of a better word, either cut short, not making the money that they want to be making or that they're worth or they're deserving, or they just maybe even quit, is because they don't follow up and they have that fear of rejection. The fear of rejection is really what's causing them to stop. And I won't get into all of that. I actually coach a lot deeper on that and really working behind, peeling back the layer of the onion of the root cause of that. But since I know our time is limited, the main key is to understand that rejection is part of the deal. To actually become a friend with the fear of rejection. And if you can, even gamify it. Actually, before you start your lead generation time, whether you're making phone calls, maybe whether you're inviting people to your webinar or you're inviting people to an Instagram Live, for example, right? Another form of lead generation is to be able to have like a moment where you like connect with your vision, connect with your why, connect with your purpose, your passion, and know that you usually, statistics vary depending on who you talk about. You're going to hear 6 to 7 no's before you hear a yes. So what I tell people is, first of all, have that understanding. Mm-hmm. It's okay. They're not rejecting you. This is not going directly with maybe a wound you got from divorce, or maybe you were rejected as a kid, from your parents. You're the black sheep of the family. That's more of the deeper work that I do with clients, but understanding that it's going to happen. So if you go for no, there's a book called Go for No. You've probably heard of it. It's a great concept. You can gamify it. you invite rejection. So if you're going for 6 to 7 no's, that probably means you're going to have to talk to at least 10 people. So it goes back to mindset, managing your expectations, taking the ego out of it, and knowing the fear is there, but doing it anyway because you have such passion and conviction about what it is that you are here on this earth to do. You know, you and I, we're passionate about what we do and who we serve because we know we can make a difference in someone's lives. And so that's where people oftentimes they poo-poo or they have yo-yo lead generation, like I talked about earlier, and yo-yo follow-up, because they're so afraid of that rejection, and they lose track of the logic. And you've got to do your best to keep the emotion out of it. Expect the no's, keep going for them, invite that rejection, make friends with it, and then, you know, keeping track also. So tracking your leads. I actually have my lead prospecting sheet right here. This is from yesterday. I did my 37 touches in 35 minutes. So even gamifying that with my clients is so much fun, because if you have accountability, all of those kind of things too, other things to think about how to make that fear of rejection less painful.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So yes, fear of rejection is a big piece of why folks do the yo-yo, why they quit, why, you know, you may do a little bit and be like, ugh, I don't like this feeling, I don't want to do it. And it's, you personalize, you internalize the no's, right? And so I also want to say, go for the no's, and we're definitely going for the yeses, but you have to know that the no is going to come along with the yes. You could get a yes pretty quickly. I've experienced this, but then you can also get a series of no's afterwards. You can get a series of no's, and then you can get a yes afterwards. So it really does depend, but just understand there's going to be both, and that's just a part of it. And I love what you said about gamifying it. Like you said, how many, for example, you know, 37 touches in 35 minutes. Like, let's see how many we can do. And I have something similar where, you know, I have a list, and then I do my touch points with folks. And I wanted to touch on something else, because it's like, for me, and you, I'm sure as well, like we're speakers, and I'm a big networker. So I network virtually, I network in person, I do speaking engagements. And with those, especially the speaking engagements, you know, I give an opportunity for folks to schedule a call with me to talk about the branding, right? And so that is considered, I mean, that's a touch point. And then from there, they get a gift, and then they're in my email list. But beyond that, though, whether it's a yes or a no, but particularly a no, you know, I have a system of tracking the people that I meet and have a connection with at each of these places and spaces. And so I put it on a, you know, couple of months, depending on if they're warm, depending on how the temperature is in terms of their readiness or the energy behind it. But no matter what, if we've had a conversation or if they've shown an interest in some way, then I do a touch point. You know, they're on my calendar to check in with, and it could be something as simple of, hey, you know, touching base. It's been a couple of months, or, you know, a few months since we talked. Just curious, are you still exploring ways to enhance your personal branding? You know, and that's a warm, right? We've already, it's not like I'm a stranger, but it's also, again, giving that opportunity and letting them, touching base, following up. So what are your thoughts on that, Lois?
I love that. That's actually, I call it the Koffi sales formula, and my step number 4 is the fortunes and the follow-up, and I call it the 8x8 touch system. Again, I was very lucky, guys, very fortunate when I got into real estate at age 21. I hired a coach and I had a mentor, and they drilled it into my brain that a day without lead generation is a day without working. So I was like, okay, I got you. I was coachable, and I've been doing that ever since.
Mm-hmm.
But the follow-up was also part of that.
Sorry, Kristen just said, hey, there's plenty of people coming in and staying around, so this is great. Continue. I'm sorry, Lois.
Yeah, so they also taught me the 8x8 system. So what that means is 8 touches over 8 weeks, or in this new email age, If you want to compress time frames, you can with email campaigns. It's one of the things that I coach on, but being able to touch people anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. Some people are a little more diligent. They'll even do 4 to 8 days. I don't have like a one size fits all, but to be able to do exactly what you said, 110%, you got to have a system in place for your follow up, knowing that again, it takes those 5 to 12 touches usually to close the sale. So that's why 8 is a beautiful, beautiful number, because there was a study done. I'll share, if I can share a quick story, why the 8x8. I didn't create that. It was actually from my real estate career, but they did a study of a subdivision of homes, and this was back in the days, even before the do not call list, so this was a long time ago. But they sent a direct mail postcard with a fictitious realtor. Person did not exist. We'll call him John Doe for lack of a better name. And there was one direct mail piece sent for 8 weeks straight. And when they called on week 9, they called every home. And of the homes that answered, when they asked them, who would you list your home with today if you were to sell your house? And guess who they said? 80%.
John Doe.
John Doe.
Mm-hmm.
So that drip, that consistency over a shortened time period, even if they weren't ready to sell,
Yeah.
he was top of mind. So that's what I really, really encourage. Exactly what you're saying, Keasha, is having that system. It can be a combination of emails, phone calls, text,
Yeah.
LinkedIn,
Right.
whatever. And that's got to be personalized to each person. I don't think in my opinion, any of like the done for you follow-up systems, I'm a little suspect, because I think it's got to fit you and your personality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. So, I think essentially that the key to that message that you shared is being top of mind and being consistent. And so again, that goes to personal branding, y'all. That goes to having clear message. That goes to showing up. That goes to actually doing things, yes, that fit your personality and your style, not just doing things because you see other people doing it necessarily. It's about finding your groove, but ensuring that whatever that groove is, it could be email, it could be every couple of weeks, sending a DM to check in on these, group of folks that you've identified, that do like you, at least, right? They like you, they see your stuff, they engage with you. So that's an in. I take that as, okay, they like what I share. And again, remember, it may not be that individual, like Lois said earlier, but who that individual knows. So as long as you're top of mind and you're being consistent and you're sharing content that's genuine, authentic, you're letting people know who you are as a person, a human, as well as the professional, then that's all going to support you and being top of mind where people think of you first. And then your work is to, do the follow-up and have a system.
Yeah. And if I can say one thing, this is something that helped me, especially amidst the pandemic. Because, guys, if you don't know me, I'm also a homeschooling mom. I have a husband who's actually had a radical transformation, is launching a new business. I have done a lot of healing work this past year on myself, and that's actually how Keasha and I connected at a deeper level, because we have a spiritual connection as well. Mm-hmm. So time is like, oh my gosh. So time blocking, it's step number 2 in my 4-step formula, and I've used the 12-week year. In fact, I normally have my book right by me, but it's not here for the moment. But there's a book called The 12-Week Year. I did get certified in that process, and we talked about the system. It takes time and focus to build your lead generation system, to get into the habit of tracking your leads, to inputting them into your CRM, however that looks for you. I'm not going to do that training today, but then also to have a follow-up system that rocks. And it doesn't happen overnight. That's also why the yo-yo dieting thing, right? The yo-yo lead generation and follow-up. If you give it 12 weeks, then you go all in on one lead generation strategy. I see so many people doing lead generation strategy like homicide to their business, because they're like trying to do Instagram and this and that and webinars and podcasting and all the things. Pick one, go all in on it, so then you can have more energy and spaciousness, and you can, you know, less is more when it comes to lead generation, and see if you also like it. You may not like it, but at the end of 12 weeks, you'll have enough data of tracking your leads, enough data of your 8x8 8-touch system that I was talking about earlier, and you'll know that you know that you know that it works. A lot of my clients, when they do that, oh my gosh, they rocket launch. By the end of the 12 weeks, their income skyrockets. Same thing happened for me in the middle of the pandemic. And most of my clients usually double their income just by going all in on one lead generation strategy and one follow-up system for 12 weeks. And then you can always tweak, refine. But that's what I see as one of the biggest mistakes people do is every month it's like the lead generation strategy of the month club. They're trying to throw spaghetti at the wall without tracking and without being focused, laser beam focused for that 12-week period. There's science behind it. I was an Ironman triathlete, so I know even training plans. That's how they work so well, and how Olympic athletes, gold medalists, were born. So same thing, look at your lead generation and follow strategy like you're training for the Olympics, and go all in and be committed and consistent, and you'll be surprised at what can happen for you. It won't be feast and famine, roller coaster income. You just gotta, be consistent.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And Kristen says she loves that book, The 12-Week Year, right? Who's the author of that book?
Yeah, it's Brian P. Moran. He's so cute. He actually tried to hire me this year. I'm like, sorry, Brian, love you. But I have my own business. Oops, sorry, it's turned. But it's Brian P. Moran, and he's been a great mentor of mine. He's been on my podcast. Just great, good people. The book is phenomenal. The key is, though, like any book, right? You got to apply the wisdom, and that's part of what I help out inside of my webinars. In fact, I have a webinar on Monday about that topic.
Yeah, so hone in, you all. 12 weeks, right? That's like a 3-month period. That is a quarter. A quarter that you're like doing the one thing consistently, the lead generation thing, and then the follow-up thing. Okay? Yes. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Wow. All right, Lois. Well, thank you so much. Like, it's, we are almost at our time, and per usual, I'm always blown away at how much is shared, how many gems and nuggets are, shared this time during the conversation. So how can folks find you, follow you, learn a bit more?
Yeah, my favorite place, of course, well, my website, just simply first name, last name, loiskoffi.com. And we're here on Insta. I don't focus a lot on Instagram, but I am here on Instagram if you want to connect with me here. My biggest thing is I do have a Facebook group, my podcast, Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. That's my movement. I'm creating a movement for 2023 to help 1,000 people live their best life through sales vocation without compromising their health. So Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, if you go and find me on Facebook or iTunes for my podcast, those would probably be the best places, and I'd love to connect with you guys.
Yay. Yeah, and I was a guest on Lois's podcast, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, earlier this year. So it was fun. It was a great conversation. And again, thank you. And you are welcome. There's Vila, I don't know your name, but I know the title there, Vila Mora Storyful. Please tell me. I love it. Yay for podcast. Yes. Kristen also has a podcast. I was a guest on her podcast this year as well. We met in Colorado Springs. So you all, thank you so much for joining us today. Follow Lois Koffi. And until next time, take care of you. Be mindful, be focused, and be love. So thank you. Bye.